Hi, I'm Dr. Naresh Trehan. I'm the Chief Cardiac Surgeon at Medanta and also the Chairman of Medanta The Medicity. See, today we are faced with a very serious problem on our hands as far as India is concerned. First of all, we have a very high, relatively high incidence of TB in our population. That means somewhere 170 or 180 patients per 100,000 population, which is high as compared to some of the other countries also. That means we have 2.2, 2.3 million TB patients, and every 5 minutes, 2 people die in India of TB. So, and recognizing that gravity, it's important that all the people who provide healthcare in any way or form should be playing a role in the prevention, early detection, treatment of TB, because it's an urgent problem. And it so happens that in India, 80% of the healthcare is provided in the private sector. It's up and down the sector. It's provided at different levels by the local doctor to the local nursing home to the organized hospitals and super specialty hospitals. So it's up and down. But all of us will see patients with TB from some time or the other. So it's important that we do participate, because our presence is so much numerically superior that we should actually take on that responsibility for the treatment and prevention of TB. First of all, see, when you sit in the private sector, it doesn't come first thing in your mind that if a person has a resistant cough which is not getting cured by the regular antibiotics that we give as first round, the recall in their mind of that possibly the patient has TB is not very good right now because of the lack of awareness. So I think that first thing first, we need to sensitize the private sector doctors that yes, if these are the things that happen, you should suspect TB early because it's prevalent in India. So once they know that it's prevalent in India, of course they'll react. And then of course once the diagnostic starts, then the rest is downstream, because the treatment of TB per se is not very expensive. For a 6-month course, it costs about 3,000 rupees, which is eminently possible to treat everybody in India. So I'm saying that the impediment may be the absence of awareness. So important thing is to give that message across. Once if you are aware and you are actually suspecting and you do the tests that are necessary, now the challenge in that whole thing is that one, the time from which a patient reports with cough, the time you treat them with a normal situation, by the time they take out gross amounts of bacteria in the sputum, there may be a time lag. That is one part. The other is that 50% of the patients who have TB will not bring out bacteria in their sputum, so they need to be detected by supplementary chest x-rays by digital radiology, not by the regular analog radiology, because only digital has sharpness enough to be able to pick up TB. And that's where the gap is today. And that's why I think that private sector can play a very critical role in this part of it, that it should be closing ranks, we should be closing ranks between the government, the NGOs and the private sector to actually take on the responsibility of fighting TB and trying to eliminate TB. Because unless there is a seamless chain amongst the three, then there will be too much slippage and we'll never be able to get ahead. I think DOTS is much better, because DOTS has a monitoring system that did you actually take your medicines, there's follow-up. In private sector, we don't have any ownership of that patient. I mean, it's for them to take it or not take it, or if they are careless, or they may move to somewhere else. So I think that DOTS has a much better chance of compliance than we do as private sector. So I think that ultimately it should be transferred to DOTS if it can be.
Now, what measures can be undertaken to encourage the private sector to work hand in hand with RNDCP?
I'll tell you one thing today. The private sector is quite willing to participate in the Indian landscape, to move the needle, to say we did this together with the government to be able to help to enhance healthcare services in India. I think that mindset is already there. I am the chairman of CII Committee on Health, so we have hundreds of hospitals in our network, and we actually feel that wherever we can participate, it will be a great honor to do that, to try to help in the healthcare sector of India. So that's not a problem. I think that the basic thing is that there is a lack of coordination or engagement. If the government so desires that they want to bring into the fold the private sector for specific projects. Like this is a very good example of TB-free India. TB-free India was actually started by the UN and the union, as an NGO, and actually supported by the American ambassador, Amitabh Bachchan and Ratan Tata, and we were all invited to that. It excites you that there are certain things that can be done together to mitigate a problem in our country. Okay. So from that originated the TB-free Haryana, that the whole idea came that if this whole appeal has been made for TB-free India, we being present in Haryana, can we actually, and we had already done a pilot project by Dr. Banali Datta had already of her own volition done a full pilot project already, because she had, I don't know how she had thought of it, but she was talking about this gap of the digital radiation, and she was using our van to go and do the chest x-rays in the primary health centers. So we just from that said, why don't we take on TB-free Haryana? It will be a great mission. So we launched it last year. And we started with 2 vans. We now have 3 under construction. So by November, hopefully, we'll have 5 vans. And each van can cover a block, actually a district eventually, as we get, more and more participation from and I must say the government doctors have been very, very cooperative and very excited about participating. So it's from that point of view, it's working well. They are also very keen that we see success in trying to eliminate TB. So I think these kind of examples are very, very useful to multiply this effort in other states. I think now we have 1 year experience. We have close to 5,000 X-rays we have done, digital X-rays we have done in the PHCs. And we have found that there is a 30%, 35% pickup rate for people who did not know that they had TB. So you are saying maybe there are 1,500 patients who have already enrolled in the DOT. And this also means that each patient who gets diagnosed, if it was undiagnosed, would have infected another 10, 12 people in their lifetime. So you're saying maybe we saved 10, 12,000 people from getting TB. So if that's the gratification in the end result of an effort, which is, not such a big thing, then I think it's worth holding it up and communicating to the other, other stakeholders to say how we can all participate for the common cause. Like you see what happened in polio-free India. Everybody participated. I think TB is imminently possible to do it with TB. We just have to get our act together. There is interest, but the point is that till we have a solid sort of proof of concept and some data to support that this effort actually produces results, it is difficult to say, to everybody with the conviction to say, this works. Now we know it works, and Dr. Datta was the only one with our teams from Medanta as doing it as an individual effort, and Medanta as a partner in that. But now we are getting better organized. We are getting other people we are getting her help to organize the program. I think we are ready to move into the rest of Haryana now, which is what we estimated will take 1 year to learn the whole system.